So we love eggs on our homestead. We eat a lot of them, we have a lot of them, but I often am talking to other moms and they say, my kids just won't eat eggs. They won't eat plain eggs, scrambled eggs, hard-boiled eggs, whatever. So what do you feed your kids for breakfast that's still healthy and nourishing, but not egg-based? So that's what we're gonna talk about here today. And I think a good place to start is just, why is it important to have a really good, nourishing breakfast in the first place? Because I certainly didn't grow up that way. Did you?
No. I mean, my breakfast was a lot of cereals. I had like the full spectrum of cereals covered. We had like a whole cupboard filled with boxes.
Did too, like a whole pantry of cereal options.
I liked Raisin Bran a lot. That was one of my go-tos.
Okay.
We had like Pop-Tarts, toaster strudels, donuts. Those were one of my favorites.
Yeah.
But yeah, nothing that was that healthy of an option.
I remember we had these like Belgian waffles growing up. They were like sugar coated. Yeah, they were delicious. Well, no, not Eggos. These were like sugar coated.
We weren't that fancy.
I think they were from like Sam's or Costco, and they were they were delicious. But anyways, I think back to my childhood and some of the breakfasts that we ate and kind of cringe, because the research is pretty clear that it's really important to have a good, nourishing breakfast, especially full of proteins and fats and kind of those long-burning fuel sources that are going to get you for the day. And that's important for everyone, but especially kids and growing bodies and growing brains. So what do you give them if they don't love eggs? Yeah, so we are, our kids actually do eat eggs, and so that is their breakfast oftentimes, but I do notice after 3 or 4 days in a row of eating eggs, they're like, can we please have something else? And so for those days, I love to have like some sort of meat option for breakfast on hand. So today, actually, I'm making like these bulk sausage patties, and we love to do this. I love to always have these sausage patties in the freezer. You just get a bunch of ground pork and then actually add your own sausage seasonings to the ground pork, mix it up, form it into patties, cook them on a skillet, and then just freeze them on a cookie sheet with like a silicone liner or parchment paper underneath it until they're frozen, and then just store them in a plastic baggie. But having these sausage patties on hand is awesome, because then if you need a quick breakfast, you just have a ready to go, really good protein source in your sausage. And then you can just add whatever other, breakfast items you want. So you're having oatmeal, or you're having sourdough toast, or some fruit, or yogurt, or whatever. Just have that with your sausage patty, and boom, you have breakfast, and it's ready to go, and it's easy, and everyone in our family loves it. I also love it because it's actually it's cost effective to just get the ground pork as opposed to the ready-made sausage, and you can then, because sausage often comes with really just unhealthy, often corn syrups in there and other additives that you just really don't want in your food. And so by making it yourself, adding in your own seasonings, one is just really basic. Most of the seasonings in basic sausage is just maple syrup and some garlic, maybe some sage, things like that. I'll post a recipe below for the one that we use. But it's really easy, and then you're 100% in charge of the ingredients in the sausage as opposed to the store-bought, which usually is junky options, or if you can find a good source with good ingredients, it's probably going to cost you an arm and a leg. And so that's what we love to do. That's one really great, easy option. Serve it alongside some cheese and some fruit, and you have breakfast without eggs.
And it doesn't have to be breakfast sausage if that's not your thing, or you just want some variety. Like we do a lot of just bacon or ham or like leftover, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, leftover chicken, or I had salmon for breakfast this morning.
You could kind of just include those with almost anything else you're eating for breakfast as a side, or that kind of main source of protein in the morning to get you going. So
yeah, I really like the work of she goes by the Glucose Goddess, actually, on all the different platforms, but she's a biochemist and a New York Times bestseller with a book by the same name. But she researches glucose and the different reactions the body has to glucose, and especially in just eating different combinations in your meals, eating different foods at different times, and what you include. And her research has really uncovered that just adding a little bit of protein with your meal is going to have a major reaction on that kind of blood glucose spike that your body has. So you could just have a bowl of oatmeal and it's likely going to cause your blood sugar to like go up and spike and crash and go down hard, leaving you, you know, shaky and jittery and needing something at 10 a.m. But if you have some protein with that bowl of oatmeal in the morning, it's going to cause your blood sugar to do much more of a normal, just kind of up, down curve, which is what you want to see, much more balanced, leaving you satiated for longer and not getting that 10 a.m. like just crash, and just the benefits that that has on your overall health. It's just, her research is really, really amazing. It just the negative impact that like continuous having those crashes and spikes, you know, those spikes and crashes has over time in leading to chronic disease. And so by keeping your blood sugar in line, it's just super, super beneficial overall. So just adding protein, whatever kind of protein that is, with your morning breakfast, along with whatever it is. Maybe it's some homemade granola or something like that, but just having it, pairing it with protein is huge.
Yeah. Yeah, and so we mentioned we eat a lot of eggs, but there are ways that we've kind of figured out how to hide eggs and things that it doesn't seem like you're just eating straight up eggs too. Like one of our go-to favorites is our Dutch baby pancake.
Oh, yeah.
And we call it the poof pancake because
it's so fun.
Yeah, it's really fun. We take it out of the oven and this thing literally like poop. Doesn't poop. It poofs up over the cast iron pan, and yeah, like the kids are excited about it every time. So
add some butter.
Yeah,
some
but
fruit.
I think what is there like 12?
Yeah, when we cook it for our family, we make 2 of them, so we're using 12 eggs for 5 of us. So everyone's going to get at least an egg or 2.
It's a good amount of eggs, but it doesn't taste like you're eating eggs at all. It's really like this big, awesome pancake that you load up with butter and jam and whatever else you doctor it up with. But they're awesome.
Yeah, that's a good healthy option. I think some other things that we like to do are baked oatmeal is one that we like to do. So as opposed to just a bowl of oatmeal, which is going to basically be kind of straight carbohydrates that maybe you're adding, fruit or sugar to, our baked oatmeal recipe, we soak it first to make it easily digestible. Soak it in whey or yogurt, which is right off the bat going to give it some good protein in there. And then we add several eggs to the recipe. We add a good amount of fat, coconut oil to it. And so it's a much more whole product than just, a bowl of oatmeal that's basically straight carbohydrates. You have your protein with some eggs in there, some fat, and so it's just a much more balanced meal. And we love, there's like cheers all around when we have baked oatmeal.
Well, plus
it's one of our favorites.
It's just a nice like bulk option too. You're making a big pan of it. It usually gets us by like a couple breakfasts out of it.
Yeah, it's often one that we have like if we have guests over for breakfast. Yeah, I think some of the other things that we like to do, smoothies we have on occasion. But not just plain like fruit juice smoothies. It's really important if you're going to have smoothies, especially as a meal. We like doctor them up with, there's egg yolks in there, collagen or gelatin. What else do we throw? I've thrown bone broth in smoothies before. Like you want to make sure those things are hearty and not just like adding some spinach leaves. Like you want to throw some good protein, some fat in there to really make it a full, nourishing meal if you're going to do smoothies for breakfast, which could be a good option for kids especially. Yeah,
they really do end up being like a full meal replacement when you just toss in all those different ingredients in. And I feel like the kids will often get like a glass of smoothie for breakfast and they'll be like, oh yeah, can we have this and other things with it, and then by the time they're done with the glass they're like, nope, we're full.
Full.
We're good.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, so when it comes to baked goods, think like pancakes or muffins, things like that. Some things that we like to do to make them more nutritious, more healthy breakfast option that's not going to have that kind of blood sugar spike reaction. Well, one thing that I also found fascinating from the Glucose Goddess is that she did research on kind of using all-purpose flour versus making sourdough products. And it's a huge difference in that reaction of that blood sugar spike. So just using all-purpose flour, say in like a pancake or something like that, causes that mega blood sugar spike and crash. But using sourdough, the process of fermenting the flour just really lowers that blood sugar response, that response that the body has to it. Plus, it's going to make it more digestible. You're adding the good bacteria to the product. So it's just going to be an overall more healthy option. So we love to do sourdough pancakes on occasion. We'll also do for pancakes, we love to make just the banana egg pancakes, or pumpkin egg pancakes is also another great option. So it's basically just using pureed pumpkin or butternut squash, adding a bunch of eggs, maybe a little coconut flour just to thicken it up, some spices, some like cinnamon, and that's delicious. And you can't even, it's full of nourishing ingredients. It comes in a beautiful like pancake package, and kids love those things. And then as far as muffins, I do kind of the same thing. Is really, instead of using, all-purpose flour, we'll do like buckwheat muffins are one of our favorite. We do these blueberry buckwheat muffins, or we have butternut squash muffins that are, again, a butternut squash puree that's made with a coconut flour and a tapioca starch. So just more nourishing flours. That really just tastes still delicious. It has the taste and the like satisfaction of eating, a breakfast muffin, which, our kids get so excited every time we have something like a muffin or a pancake for breakfast. But really, when you look at the ingredients, they're really pretty good, and there's always plenty of eggs in there, these nourishing flours, and things like that. So those are some of our favorite go-tos. Are there other ones?
And again, you do a lot of like bulk baking with those
that's
too, and then freeze a lot of them. So it's not like you're just whipping up muffins every morning or something and putting them in the oven. You're taking them out of the freezer, they're ready to go, and you just have like, bags of them ready to go in the freezer.
That's true. That's a good point. Every time we do baking, I always make like a double or triple batch so that we have plenty. Because mornings are busy for people. You're trying to get out the door, you're trying to get to wherever, and so the idea of prepping this whole breakfast with meats and all the nourishing things can feel overwhelming. It's way easier to just pour a bowl of cereal and call it good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love having things on hand. Our homemade granola is another one actually, and it's like with all of these recipes, I wouldn't say like just have a bowl of homemade granola and call it good, but we add egg whites. Actually, this is a great recipe to use those leftover egg whites in for protein. If you're making like ice cream or something else that uses the yolks, or a smoothie that uses the yolks, throw those egg whites in this granola recipe, and then it's gonna add protein to your granola. But it also kind of gives it that nice crispy crunch that you want in granola. And then, have that with a bunch of yogurt, like Greek, protein-rich yogurt, and some whole raw milk, some stuff like that, where you're not just, or throw one of these sausage patties on the side and you have breakfast. Like that's just another really easy thing to do. That's
my go-to in the morning. I usually cook up a couple eggs and then have a little bowl of granola with milk. It's delightful. But yeah, we do have, so like all of these recipes that we're mentioning here, we have blog posts that kind of cover all the recipes. So we'll link to those below so you can check them out.
Yeah, but we'd love to hear. So those are some of our favorite non-egg breakfast options. But what are yours? We'd love to add more to our repertoire. We'd love to share with others in this community to get ideas from each other. So drop them below in the comments. We'd love to hear. So thanks so much for stopping by the Farmstead today, for spending your time with us, and we'll see you in the next video.